Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't do very many interviews at the moment. However, when there is something vital and important, and especially something to tell you that is happening that you will probably want to come along to, you may have heard of them in the past and you may think, my goodness, I never went to those. I ought to, because this is now in my area. And if you happen to be in Herefordshire, you're in luck. We have another of our great resists coming to you. This is the ninth one. And here she is, the Master of Ceremonies herself, Liz Phillips. Hello, Liz.
Hello, Richard. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm full of beans at the moment because not having done so many of these, I've got more vitality in me. I've not been worn down by the EMFs of the studio, which is rather good. The ninth Great Resist. Who would have thought? Here we are, travelling around the country. It sounds very exciting, and I dare say you have another amazing lineup of speakers to tell us what's going on and what we can do about it.
I can't tell you. I am so excited, and fortunately, apparently, so is everybody else. Now,
Oh,
as you
grand.
know, we title each one differently, and this one is titled "They Win If We Let Them, We Won't." So
Brilliant.
the lineup of speakers is those that have come through really. The I don't know the difficulties, let's say, that are being thrown at us at the moment, and they've won. So we've got a tremendous lineup, and it really the people there will be able to tell the people in the audience how they've done it and how everybody else can do it as well. And you
Yeah,
know very
fantastic.
well, and I know very well, there's nothing like the positive side of nature to get everybody going. So I'll give you a little bit of the lineup. We've got the
Please do.
wonderful Clive Edwards. Now, Clive Edwards has taken on the planning authority and the local authority and has won without any um, rancor or any waving of staves and knives and what have you. He's done it all through working himself, working through the actual law, what is lawful and what is legal. And he's such a character, builder come farmer. And Clive is coming to talk to us. And Clive, many people will have seen him online, Richard, as he's been with you. So that's a great start.
Yes, very much so.
We've got complimenting him really is Scouser, Mark Taylor from Thetford Council Watch. And Thetford Council Watch has been very much in the news lately. Chris from LSB Film Productions, who you also know very well, they've had such, I would say, fun with Thetford Council. It is a little bit more than fun, I'm afraid. But Mark will be here to see what you can do with your local council by being part of the Council Watch, which has gone really viral across the country, I think. We've got Peter McElvenna talking about the only media that matters, and the only media that matters, Richard, is the sort that you do, I do, and all the other alternative media people do around the country. And we're there to tell the truth as much as we can. And Peter McElvenna, again, such a character, and a Northern Irishman from Hearts of Oak. So Peter will be there. Peter's been before, but he's such an entertaining chap that most people can't wait to get to hear him again. We've
Yeah,
got
brilliant.
we've got the wonderful people on 5G now. Mark Steele has been in court with Transport for London over these dreadful cameras, the ULEZ system. And fortunately, the Blade Runners took some of the cameras down, as you know, and Mark managed to get hold of one, dissected it, got all the part numbers off it, and has then taken it all to court in London. And hopefully, I am hopeful that by the time we get to the 27th of September in Hereford, he may have got the answer from what the judge has said. But again, such an entertaining chap. And alongside him, of course, we've got Nicholas Martin, who talks about the Internet of Bodies and the Internet of Things. But he's a local councillor, so he can tell you from scratch exactly what he's done. It's good to have somebody that's actually on the council that has changed the council's mind, if you like, from within. So that's another great speaker. We've got Cassie Langford. Cassie, you've had on. Cassie's just written to me today, actually, about the way that they're now sectioning off roads in various towns, looking as if they're getting ready for the 20-minute cities. And what to do to stop it. So Cassie's coming to talk, and she's been very helpful, Richard, in stopping some of these great solar farms and wind farms going across the country. Besides these 5G towers going up, they've managed to stop so many through planning, and it's all through the wonderful Cassie Langford. And what more can you say about Cassie? You've had her on. I've
Yes,
interviewed her as well. She is a character, isn't she?
she certainly is. Bubbly character.
Lovely. And so we've got Joe Sinclair talking about the higher things in life, the vibrations that we should be feeling. I have to tell you, I'd no idea before listening to people like Joe that we had our own positions in the universe with your hertz, how many hertz you actually have, your wavelengths, etc. And Joe talks very much about getting your vibrations up. And so, again, fantastic to listen to him. He's such a wealth of knowledge. I've learnt so much, Richard. You think when you get to nearly 80, sadly to say that's where I am, that you might know quite a bit. I've learnt more, I think, in the last 5 years than I have in the 75 years preceding. And also, we're talking about defence with David Ellis. We're talking about fishing and coastal communities with Mike Shaw from Lowestoft. Mike, an ex skipper, trawler skipper, and what he doesn't know about fishing and coastal communities, because as you know, all around the coast we've lost all our fishing. Whereas down here in Kent we had Dungeness, Hythe, Dover, Folkestone, all had their own fishing fleets. Nothing,
Mm.
absolutely nothing. Just an odd a fishing boat going out here and there, but nothing like we used to have. And of course, it's all been done on the continent. So we've got Mike Shaw coming, and then we've got a section talking about what's going on behind the scenes with children and what's happening with the police force or is not happening with the police force, and what is happening in Parliament behind the scenes as well. And these things are not savoury, as I don't need to tell you. But we've got
No.
the three people speaking will be Kimberly Isherwood, and Kimberly is about 5'2" of dynamite, and she will be off to talk in the States on the Monday after we've spoken on the Saturday. So
Oh,
you can
brilliant.
see how she's been she's gone worldwide now. We've also got Ray Savage, an ex-policeman, talking about whether is it a police service or a police force and the difference. And then we've got, believe it or not, Andrew Bridgen talking about some of the unsavoury things going on behind and what went on in Parliament. So that it covers all of that sort of side. We're then looking at a different form of government using a local referendum and national referendums with the wonderful Neil Petrie and Alan Shipham. And then we go on to farming. Believe it or not, we've got a wonderful vet who I interviewed last week, funny enough, called Roger Meacock. Roger is such a wealth of knowledge, and he's just had a peer-reviewed paper printed on the PCR testing, so that they can prove that we've got foot and mouth and bird flu and other diseases. They're now going to start PCR testing animals. Now we know what PCR testing wasn't at time of COVID. Now all
Mm.
they're going to do is try and prove that we've got these dreadful diseases back by using these tests. So Roger will be there, and then the two farmers, David Baggott from Northumberland and Mark Byford, um, both wear bowler hats. So I've got two bowler hats are better than one.
Oh,
So,
blimey.
so we've got Mark who's just
We'll
been
be
doing.
bowled over, won't we?
We've got Mark, of course, just doing the Fault the System tour, and David Baggott, the Geordie, who is just such a wealth of knowledge where farming is concerned, and was with me, started Farmers Food and Freedom, so the party for the rural community. So we've got the two farmers there speaking, and then we're finishing up with the wonderful Jason Lloyd Davis from South Wales. And Jason is the one that's keeping everybody, all the countries, although they're individual countries like England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, even though they're individual countries, it's keeping us all together. So Jason will be talking about really the individuality, but the togetherness that we must all show as people. And then Mark Edwards will be seeing us out as he does with Standing in the Gap from his fantastic father who's no longer with us. There is a spiritual element, as you know, to what's going on. We start and end with It's a Spiritual War by Right Said Fred, who have very happily given us their tune as our anthem. But it is a spiritual war, so we go out, but we always go out on a high. And if that should, I hope, send everybody really out for the day, a whole day packed full, but great fun.
Oh, sounds amazing. Sadly, of course, I can't be there.
Well, I was going to go on to this. Some people will do anything to get out of one of our events, and there is an escapologist this time. He's called Richard Vose. But I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, he has been very busy, and I've just seen the fruits of his work. Biggleswick is not far off being printed. I was very privileged to be asked to proofread. I did offer to do this because I do it for other people as well. I've had a fantastic weekend. Richard should have had the book back this morning, but somehow the postman's got lost in the wet
He's
somewhere along
reading
the
it.
way.
That's what the trouble is.
But
He's reading it.
but it's all done. And Richard and I are going to talk about another project after his book, which he's quite shocked about. But the book is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
We have had great fun. The book is excellent, ladies and gentlemen. So when Biggleswick comes out, I would like to think that in actual fact it is a blueprint for what could be going to happen. And when you look at the people like the council watches, Richard, and I know that you've taken a lot from around the country of what has been happened by various people. I think it's absolutely excellent. I can't give it more than a plug, but I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. And when you're proofreading, you're supposed to look at every word, but suddenly you find you're wrapped up in the story, and then you have to go back and reread this. Reread, you realise that there hasn't been an error, and you think there must have been an error somewhere, so you have to go back and reread it. So I had a lot of fun.
Well, I can't. I have to say that I couldn't have written the book, of course, without the 2.5 years of speaking to and meeting all the different people on the journey that we've been. If I'd tried to write, I would never have had the idea, for one thing. And it seemed to me that fiction was a great way to tell truth, and hopefully other people will see something, a glimmer of. And also, just let me just ask you this, and I know this isn't about my book or what have you, but do you think that this would be a book that you could give to people who are a bit, say, disgruntled with the government at the moment, but not necessarily aware of all the stuff we're aware of?
Yes, I think it would, Richard, because what it does is many people don't realise how bad that things are, but they know something's not right. And you put in there, it's a bit like coming to the Great Resist events. Some people know, say, about 5G, or they might know about child sex education and what have you, but they don't get a whole picture of what is going on, and also they don't get a picture of why. And when you can do it with a bit of fun, which is what your book is, because it's a fiction, it is a work of fiction, but it has all the truths in it. But it's done in such a way that you can enjoy it as well, which is what we do. You can probably see the smile on my face thinking about
Yes.
the next Great Resist event, because we do have a lot of fun along the way, although the situation is really serious. But you can stop everybody by saying no, thank you, very nicely. And your book just shows what you can do when you just turn it round so that you're in the right and they're in the wrong, but you do it so nicely. You know, they're they're a
Well,
bit,
it's
and it is great fun, but it does everything. It covers absolutely the things that we talk about, but does it in such a nice way. I think you can give it to anybody, Richard, and also, of course, you can give it to the younger generation. It's not something like Kimberly wouldn't want for her children to read. It's such a good read, but it could go to anybody. The language is for everybody to understand. So many of the
Well, that's very much thanks to all the old 1950s films that I grew up with, and there is a sort of an element of, I think I even mentioned it in the book Passport to Pimlico with Margaret Rutherford. There's an element of that. that it is hopefully it's a sort of timeless village or town with a timeless sort of world that actually many people, particularly in our what we're kind of fighting for, is to try and retain before we end up in these 15-minute cities and all the rest of the nonsense that they want us to be in.
That's why I used to love living in mid Wales, Richard. It was like in mid Wales, not the north or the south, but in the mid, because there's no motorways or what have you that served it. It was like turning the clock back 50 years. The economy in mid Wales bumped along the bottom. Nobody's got very much, but everybody shares what they haven't got, if you know what I mean. And it was
Yes.
just like going back to the old days. I don't know. I would go back tomorrow if I could. I can't at the moment. I go back tomorrow because it's just such a happy way of everybody's got a smile on their face. They haven't got anything. We've got too tied up, I think, in commercial things these days, haven't we?
Yes.
And we've lost it really of the happiness we used to have.
Well, the Great Resist, of course, is one way to get up to date with everything that's going on, and is that footstep towards the step backwards, if you like, to those things that we treasure and want to retain. That's not to say that we all want to go back in time, but we want to not have some of these rather nefarious things planted upon us. And Hereford is the place to go to. We haven't said where it is in Hereford, so whereabouts is it?
It's the wonderful Hereford Racecourse on the old Roman road, which is the old Roman road really from Worcester right through to mid Wales. And I know Hereford, lived in Hereford actually myself, and the racecourse is absolutely wonderful. And we had a very successful meeting, Richard, that you came to at Exeter Racecourse. So it means that parking is because you're out of town, everybody
Mm.
can park, etc. Nice, there'll be nice snacks for lunch and what have you, teas and coffees. So everybody will be so welcome. I'm afraid this time, and I'm sorry to say, it's £15 a head. We've been at £10 a head all the way through, but we just cannot cover the expenses, Richard, with the number of people. So I'm afraid it's this time £15 a head. But it is a day packed full, and I hope that people feel it's well worth the money.
I definitely think, I mean, you'd only be able to get some of these other events, two or three speakers. You've got so many speakers and such a wealth of knowledge in one room on one day. And the other thing is that, of course, all these speakers during the coffee breaks and the lunch breaks are available to be asked that difficult questions, awkward questions, those sort of things that you always want to ask, but you may not ever get a chance. So that's definitely one reason why I'm not there. In case no, I'm joking. But yes, so it would be great fun, and it's on the 27th. Is that correct?
27th of this month, 27th
Of this month
Saturday, the
of September.
27th of September. Doors open at 10. It starts promptly at 11, finishes promptly at 6. And we're looking forward to a great day, as I say. And the best thing about our speakers, Richard, is, as you know, they're homegrown, but they're so, when I say polished, it's not really the right word, but you know what I mean. You expect to have names of people, um, and these aren't people that are necessarily, well-known names, if you know what I mean, but they're fantastic to listen to.
Yes, definitely. Well, there we are, and I've been to seven of them, haven't I? I missed the very first one. I've been to the rest, if I remember rightly,
You have,
something like that.
you have.
And I've met pretty much all of them. They're all great. They're very personable. They're very approachable, and everybody who's never been before, give it a go. Give it a go. Come along. And are you planning a further one after this, number 10?
Oh yes, but provided this one goes okay, and I can't think for any reason why it wouldn't, because people are just so pleased to come together. It's almost like a family, really, isn't it? Because
Yes.
some of the people, have been to nearly every one all over the country, because we've been up as far as Gateshead, Newport, South Wales, Swindon, Peterborough, Derbyshire, Norfolk, and people have followed us all over. So we must be doing something about right. Although that we have had little trifle difficulty where some of these people try to get you shut down, but
Mm.
we're not being shut down. The government can
No.
take a hike.
Yes. Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Hereford, 27th, Saturday, 27th, this month in
Yeah.
September. And I hope it goes well because sadly I'm away up in Scotland with Barbara O'Neill doing something different. But it's very important that people do come along. And of course, I'll be there to support you, hopefully, on the next one. So thank you so much, Liz, for coming on and telling us all about it.
Bless you, Richard. Thank you very much indeed. And I hope the book is a great, great success. Biggleswick. There we go, everybody. Look out.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.